Soufan Center. You're joining us from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania. After almost a week of various types of Israeli attacks against Hezbollah, how is the Lebanese armed group doing? How would you assess the amount of damage that has been done to them?
Well, it's always tricky to conduct some kind of a battle damage assessment while operations are still ongoing. And even this early into the latest kind of Israeli campaign, it's only about a week old. That said, it's clear that Israel has been successful in eliminating multiple high-level Hezbollah commanders. It claims to have targeted numerous rocket sites with its over 1,000 strikes. But the question I have, and that many other kind of military analysts have, is this campaign connected to any kind of strategy? And it's an important question because, as we've seen in the last 11 months in Gaza, Israeli tactics there have been totally divorced from any kind of a broader strategy. So the question's relevant for Lebanon.
Okay, well, let me put it this way then. The number of times I've heard over the last year, Hezbollah is a much mightier foe than Hamas. Lebanon is going to be a much harder battlefield for Israel than the Gaza Strip. Hezbollah has tons of rockets, missiles, etc., fighting know-how, men, I mean, you name it. Is there anything that you've seen over the last week that would cause you to qualify any of that?
I don't think so. Not just yet. Although I've been surprised at the kind of balance of power so far 1 week in. I would have expected Hezbollah to strike mightier blows against the Israelis, but again, this is a group that thinks in the long run, right? I mean, if you go back to this group again, it's been around since the early 1980s. They've dealt with the Israeli occupation of Lebanon, which lasted for 18 years. They fought a 34-day war against the Israelis in July 2006 and prevailed stronger on the back end. I remember many of these same conversations happening then. So, Hezbollah is in this for the long run. I think the question I have at the moment is, will Iran come to the aid of Hezbollah, or will some of the other Iranian proxies, whether Shia militia groups in Syria and Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, now kind of join in to attack Israel to kind of help Hezbollah in a time of great need?
I'll keep circling a little bit around the same issue, if you don't mind, which is like the assessment that is your assessment of Hezbollah. Why? Because a couple days ago, multiple commanders of its elite Redwan force were killed by Israel in Beirut. Now Israel claims that it has killed the head of Hezbollah's rocket division. That's yet to be confirmed by Hezbollah. When we read those headlines, it's difficult for us to know exactly what that means and how much of a blow it really is to Hezbollah.
It's a devastating blow in many ways, and it's more than just symbolic. This is the kind of legacy knowledge of the group. These are individuals that have been with it, in many cases, since the group's inception. However, there's a saying, next man up, right? And so this is a group that's got built-in redundancy, multiple layers within its command and control, field-grade commanders and other operatives that are ready to kind of step up into the ranks. And I think the equation becomes different if you see the Israelis actually launch some kind of a ground offensive into Lebanon proper. That's where I think Hezbollah has the advantage, where it's kind of asymmetric warfare plays more to its strengths than what we're seeing at the moment, which is essentially trying to survive, Israeli airstrikes, pretty significant bombardment, as well as some of the covert operations like we saw with the pager and walkie-talkie explosions.
So you said earlier that you would have expected Hezbollah to have hit back stronger against Israel by now. What would that look like, and why do you think it hasn't happened then?
Yeah, so perhaps something along the lines of attacking Israeli interests outside of Israel itself. Think back to what Hezbollah was able to do in the 1990s in Argentina. This is a global organization with tentacles stretching from Latin America to parts of West Africa and beyond. And so why haven't we seen that? Again, it's still, while much of this kicked off on the heels of October 7th last year, this kind of current conflagration or Israeli offensive, it's only a week old. It takes a long time to kind of put those plans into motion. We may still see that. We may still see Hezbollah attacks against Israeli interests in Africa or in other parts of the world. And so I think, the story is still to be written in that case.
Okay, Colin Clarke, intelligence expert and director of research at the Soufan Center. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.